In the heart of Berkshire, England, there is a small suburban garage. It looks like 1,000 other garages. It smells of gear oil, cold aluminum, and old tea. Inside stands a man who has become a quiet revolutionary. His name is Alan Millyard. For decades, Alan has been doing things that engineers at Honda and Kawasaki would tell you are impossible, or at the very least, ill-advised. He takes two engines, saws them in half, and welds them together to create a V12. He takes a 500 horsepower Dodge Viper V10 engine and builds a motorcycle around it that actually handles. And he does it all without a computer-aided design program, without a CNC machine, and without a team of assistants. But this video isn't just about motorcycles. It's about a global shift. For years, Alan was seen as a tinkerer, a British eccentric with a quirky hobby. But recently something shifted. His YouTube channel exploded. His name started appearing in design seminars and philosophy blogs. The world didn't just find Alan Millyard, the world caught up to him. In an era of planned obsolescence, 15-second TikToks, and hustle culture, we realized we were starving for the one thing Alan has in abundance, the masterclass of patience. We've been sold a lie for 30 years. That lie is that perfection requires complexity. We are told that if you want to build a world-class machine, you need a 5-axis mill and a degree in fluid dynamics. Alan Millyard is the living antidote to that myth. When you watch Alan work, you notice something unsettling. He uses a hacksaw. He uses a hand file. He uses a basic lathe that's older than most of his viewers. There is a specific kind of genius in his Millyard method. He doesn't see a solid block of aluminum as a barrier. He sees it as a suggestion. When he decided to build the Flying Millyard, a giant 5-liter V-twin powered by cylinders from a 1,920 seconds airplane, he didn't draft it in AutoCAD. He drew it in chalk on the floor of his shed. Why does this resonate so deeply with us in 2026? Because we live in a world where we no longer own the things we buy. Our cars are computers on wheels that we aren't allowed to touch. Our phones are sealed glass bricks. Alan represents the physical truth. When he joins two engine casings, he's not just making a bigger motor, he's reclaiming the right to understand the world through his hands. The world caught up to him because we realized that high-tech is often just a curtain drawn to hide the fact that we've forgotten how things actually work. Part 3. The Philosophy of the Setback. If you watch a Millyard video, you'll notice a recurring theme, the mistake. In any other YouTube build channel, a mistake is met with high-energy frustration, a jump cut, or a dramatic rant about a fail. But watch Alan. When a part doesn't fit or a casting fails, he doesn't shout. He doesn't throw a wrench. He sits down, he makes a cup of tea. He looks at it. This is the core of the masterclass. Alan's patience isn't just about moving slowly, it's about his relationship with time. He views a setback not as a delay, but as part of the process. In a world where we are taught that time is money, Alan teaches us that time is the ingredient. Think about the Kawasaki Super 6. He turned a 4-cylinder into a 6. To do that, he had to cut the crankshaft, the most high-stress, precision-balanced part of an engine, and join it back together. If he rushed, even by a fraction of a millimeter, the engine would vibrate itself to pieces at 10,000 revolutions per minute. The world finally noticed Alan because we are all suffering from time poverty. We are constantly rushing toward a finish line that doesn't exist. Alan reminds us that the doing is the reward. He isn't building a bike so he can have a bike, he's building it so he can build it. There is a specific beauty to a Millyard build. It doesn't look custom, it looks factory plus. He spends hundreds of hours hand polishing bolts and matching paint codes so that his creations look like they rolled off a production line that never actually existed. This is the long game. In the 2010s, internet culture was about the minimum viable product. Get it done fast. Get it out there. Fix it later. But we've seen where that gets us: buggy software, crumbling infrastructure, and disposable products. Alan's work is the maximum viable product. He once spent weeks making a single oil pump work for a V12 Kawasaki. He could have bought an aftermarket electric pump. It would have taken 10 minutes to install, but he didn't. He wanted the mechanical purity of a gear-driven pump. This level of dedication used to be called madness. Today we call it art. The world caught up to Alan because we've reached a saturation point with fast. We are looking for forever. We look at a Millyard bike, and we know that 100 years from now that machine will still be capable of screaming down a back road, while our current electric SUVs will be bricks of dead lithium and obsolete code. So, what is the Millyard Masterclass actually teaching us? It's teaching us that competence is the ultimate form of freedom. When you have the patience to learn a craft, truly learn it from the hacksaw up, you stop being a consumer and start being a creator. You stop being at the mercy of the market. The world caught up to Alan because during the lockdowns and the subsequent years of global instability, people started going into their own sheds. They started baking bread, restoring old furniture, and fixing their own bikes. They realized that the quick fix left them empty, while the long build left them whole. Alan Millyard is the patron saint of the shed men and shed women. He proves that one person, with enough patience, can outperform a corporation. He proves that your tools don't define your output, your discipline does. He didn't change his style to fit the YouTube algorithm. He didn't start using clickbait or flashy graphics. He just kept filing, he kept sawing, he kept being patient. And eventually, the algorithm and the world found its way to his door. If you take one thing away from the story of Alan Millyard, let it be this: the most powerful tool you own isn't in a toolbox. It's the ability to slow down when everyone else is speeding up. Alan didn't win because he was the fastest. He won because he was the last one standing at the workbench, still filing, still thinking, still enjoying the silence of the shed. The masterclass is over. Now it's time for us to go into our own garages, our own offices, our own lives, and pick up the hacksaw. Thanks for watching.